usually done in the Malnadu region. It could refer to paintings done on the wall, it could refer to paintings done on a butti, like a basket, or even the tattoos are referred to as some form of chittara, tattoos on the body. So out of all that, so there are varieties of chittaras. Out of that, the most important or the most celebrated one is the Hase Chittara or the Hase Gode Chittara. So this is one particular variety of Chittara which is drawn on the walls. So the one you see here is an example of another a version of Hase Gode Chittara. It's called the Popoli Chittara. I think what ties all these chittaras together is the fact that there is a lot of intricate work involved. I think that is the most significant part. It takes a lot of effort, patience, concentration, because it takes hours for women to actually draw, women or men. It takes hours to draw. It's a painstakingly done, done work, lovingly done, and it's done on the occasion of weddings in a family. Usually it is during that time where on a prominent wall this Hase Chittara is drawn, and most events, wedding events, happen in front of that, and that's considered a very auspicious sign in the house. So Geeta, why don't you talk about elements of the Hase Gode Chittara itself?
So Hase Gode Chittara is normally done on the walls during the marriage time, and without Hase Gode Chittara the marriage cannot happen. It's very precious for them. All the rituals, everything starts from Hase Gode Chittara and ends with Chittara. And olden days the marriage used to happen in the houses, like you see the column, horizontal and vertical column, and this will be filled with lot of symbols which have a meaning, which is again taken from nature and day-to-day life. For example, you see this one, this is called Gombe Saru. So this represents children, and this is the palanquin, and this is the fan for the palanquin, and these are the couple, and these are the people who are carrying the palanquin, and like that you have many other symbols. And this is the marigold flower, which is very important for them. So marigold flower and the jasmine flower, these are only two flowers which they use, and these are the people who are playing, the instrumentalists. And likewise, there are a lot of symbols, and then you can see this border which is on three sides. So it's only three sides. So they tell that it's a house. So people should be always, it should be an open house. People should be always going and coming in. So like that. And coming back to Chittara, it's the columns. Depending on the size of the wall, you can have so many columns, horizontal, vertical, and these are all taken from the architecture of their houses. So you can imagine how creatively all these are done and incorporated in Chittara. And Chittara is a very integral part of their life.
I think the inspiration, right, for these fills also, like you were pointing out, like the Nili Kochu that it's I think why don't you say that, because that is from real life, from their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And drawing that with Pundinaru, I think you will be able to say how difficult or easy that is. Yeah.
Yes, so Nili Kochu, like we had, I think we mentioned also before, is basically a crisscross weave that comes from how houses were constructed before. Right, fibers were woven together and these surfaces were made, and that was the wall of the home, and on that they would put mud and all that to make the wall. So what is called a wattle in English, that it becomes the Nili Kochu in Chittara. So it's a filler pattern that is used extensively. Similarly, we also have symbols like the patanga, the butterfly. We have the chendu, which is the marigold, which is a very central element, and even now, even in a lot of our festivals as well, we use chendu. So from back then, the Divaru have been revering the chendu, and there are also multiple ways that chendu is depicted regionally. Then you have things like the koli or the rooster, which is an important bird again in a farm setting. They're always running around. There are baby kolis. So they're represented as a mother koli, baby koli. There will be a female. There will be a male. A hunja is a male. Atara, and then you have symbols like the Arali Ele. Arali Ele is again the symbol of the people leaf, because a people tree is a very important part of a community, right? Every rural community has a lot of people trees, and the people gather around them, and there is a lot of communal celebration. People sit and discuss their daily problems, their sorrows, their happinesses, all that around the people tree.
And also adding to that, people tree is supposed to give more oxygen, produce more oxygen than the other trees, it seems. That's what they believe. And then the pregnant ladies are asked to go around so that, you know, the more oxygen they will get.
So symbols like that show a lot, as well as symbols like the Madanakai, again that comes from architecture. It's again part of a supporting beam structure on the roof of the house, which again we talk about in the book. Then you have the Kelukumba. The Kelukumba, again Geeta, will you point it out?
This is the Kelukumba.
That's the Kelukumba, which is again a very important, what you would akin to the Kalasha, right, in weddings. So that is represented with a Mavina Kone on the top, which is a mango leaf symbol. So Kelukumba is basically a pot, a earthen pot, and on that they decorate with cooked rice, which is raw rice, colored in different colors, which used to be natural colors in the beginning, and now they use all kinds of, you know, colored powders and all that. So using colored rice, patterns are made on these pots, and that again demonstrates the skill of the women in the family celebrating the marriage of a daughter in the family.
They take this pot on the day of the marriage, and they go to the river, they take the water from the river and bring it and pour it on the couple. The first rituals happen. So that again shows their aesthetic sense, you know. They could just take the clay pot and go, but no, but they decorate this with Chittara design.
And that again comes back to Chittara also.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it all ties up again the day-to-day things with art, and it gets representation. And these borders are also very interesting because they have different kinds of elements, and you can add as many borders as you want. I think you know, somebody said it's even 7 borders. You can add 7 borders, up to 7 borders.
Depending on the
Space available in a home. One important element of Hasegode Chittara is the central portion where the bride and the groom are shown, and they are seen wearing this headgear, and the Divaru community in particular uses a headgear for their weddings, like decorative headgear for the for men and for the bridegroom and the bride. It's called Basinga and Tondlu or Tondla. So that is made out of pith. We, you know, in South
solar wood,
solar wood,
or in Canada it's Jomdu.
Bendu or pith. So this is available in lakes, and you will find very few artists now who can actually, very few craftsperson who can actually craft this. So it's a very interesting process to watch the Gudigar community to actually, you know, they'll be having this one blunt knife, and within no time, and with a simple movement, they'll, you know, create flowers, and they'll create these beautiful headgear. And that headgear, the Basinga Tondlu, are again, you know, represented in Chittara also as Chittara motifs, Basinga. And there is a particular pattern called the Basinga Nili, which is used to fill the columns in a Chittara. And that is because the Chittara is, Hasegode Chittara is associated with weddings. And this column is filled with some meaningful symbols. The Basinga Nili pattern, that's a very interesting, beautiful pattern, one of my favorite patterns, comes in the Chittara as well. So it's a very interesting craft. Very few people are doing it now, very few craftspersons who can do it. Pith is getting replaced with thermocol, unfortunately. Pith is very light, you know, unlike it just, I did not imagine that it could be as light or even lighter than thermocol. But a lot of these elements, earlier it used to be a purely, you know, an element of pith. Now it's being replaced by thermocol. You'll find plastic pieces. Instead of glass beads, you have these plastic things hanging. Again, it's a part of this rapid urbanization that's happening. Ease and access to these things, you know, the vendors for, we were told that vendors for these plastic and thermocol are easily available. If it was pith, somebody had to go to the lake, get those, cut the stems. It is seasonal. So a lot of things like these, right, crafts which are very eco-friendly crafts that are undergoing this tremendous change, and so is Chittara for that matter. Now when you go to homes, you actually see, you don't see those 4 colors, you see very colorful Chittara with glitter.
Glitter, yeah.
There is no restriction on color.
Colours.
Which is inevitable because you see, fluorescent colored Chittara also in homes. It's a matter of taste, tastes are changing. So it's all part of the flow and ebb of the art form itself.
Correct.
And we've documented all this in our book.
And again, you see how amazing again the women has taken from Basinga and converted this as a symbol, doing inverted triangles and calls it as Basinga because the headwear is.
Yes, it has geometry again. It's inverted triangles placed next to each other. Everything is a parallel line. So it's
correct. And when you look at any kind of a lifestyle or any kind of a home, right, there are so many things you can take inspiration from, right? How is it that they have chosen these particular things and created a complete visual language to tell the complete important, cover all the important aspects of the community, of their rituals, their traditions, the most beautiful things that anybody would perceive from all of their lifestyle. It's all documented in Chittara.
Yeah.